A feared prince known for his brutality in war lives a rare moment of peace after marrying his beloved wife, Elizabeth. As a symbol of their devotion, he gifts her a small, handcrafted music box whose melody becomes their private bond. Their happiness is short-lived. One night, soldiers arrive urgently to summon the prince to battle. The kingdom is under siege, and the enemy is advancing fast. Before departing, the prince orders his men to escort Elizabeth to a distant fortress where she will be safe. He seeks a holy blessing, begging for divine protection over his wife as she travels through the forest. With a heavy heart, he rides to war. During Elizabeth's journey, danger strikes. An enemy scout hidden among the trees ambushes the guards, killing 2 with swift arrows. The remaining soldiers fight back fiercely while urging Elizabeth to flee ahead. Flames erupt behind them as oil barrels are ignited, forming a wall of fire to slow the pursuing army. A brutal clash follows, and though many fall, the prince's forces gain the upper hand through discipline and skill. The prince soon stands victorious before the enemy king, surrounded by the grim trophies of war. His triumph is shattered when he receives devastating news. His wife has been attacked. Without hesitation, he abandons the battlefield and rides after her. Elizabeth races through a frozen wilderness known as the Forest of Wolves, a land filled with hidden iron traps buried beneath snow. Several pursuers are caught and killed, but tragedy strikes when her horse is ensnared. She is thrown to the ground and surrounded. Fighting desperately, she tries to escape, but another trap snaps shut beneath her foot. The prince arrives moments later, his own horse falling victim to the traps. He continues on foot, cutting down attackers with terrifying speed. In the chaos, he hurls his sword at an enemy charging toward Elizabeth, but the blade strikes her instead. Mortally wounded, she dies in his arms as he weeps uncontrollably. Consumed by grief, the prince storms into the church, furious that his faith did not save her. He demands a miracle, accusing the clergy of betrayal. When none is offered, his rage erupts. He renounces God, declaring he will follow no power that allows such loss. As he speaks, the air trembles, and sacred statues begin to weep. But the prince walks away, unrepentant. Hundreds of years pass. In France, a priest is summoned to a psychiatric institution holding a mysterious woman named Maria. Records claim she was born over a century earlier, yet she has not aged. She reacts violently to religious symbols, fueling suspicions that she is something unnatural. When confronted, the priest confirms the truth. Maria is a vampire. She reveals that she was created by the very first of her kind, an ancient prince still alive, still searching for his lost bride. Elsewhere, a young notary named Jonathan travels through a remote forest toward a towering castle. Abandoned by his driver at night, he presses on alone. Warding off wolves with fire, the castle gates seal behind him as if alive. Inside, he meets the mysterious master of the fortress, a pale nobleman who introduces himself as the prince of the land. Strange events unfold. The host does not eat, commands objects without touching them, and displays disturbing strength. Jonathan soon realizes he is a prisoner. Captured and drained of blood, Jonathan narrowly survives. When he questions how such a creature can exist, the prince laughs and agrees to tell his story. The story of Elizabeth, of love lost, of centuries spent waiting for her soul to return. The prince explains that he learned pure souls can be reborn. Over time, he searched endlessly, manipulating society, spreading influence, and even creating other vampires to help him find her. When hope failed, he withdrew into isolation. Everything changes when the prince sees a portrait Jonathan carries of his fiancée, Mina. She is the image of Elizabeth reborn, love reawakened. Dracula then decides to let Jonathan live to thank him for reuniting him with his love. He calls all his gargoyles and tells them to bring him lots of blood because he needs to be beautiful before meeting with Elizabeth. At that moment, Simon enters the office and notices the portrait, pointing out that there's a woman who looks just like that in the visitors area. Dumont and the priest rush in to the other room and meet Mina, who explains she's a close friend of Maria's. Maria was always very nice until the wedding. When she lost her mind at the sight of the bishop, Mina admits she has doubts about her own wedding because she feels like she doesn't belong in this time. When a gargoyle comes in, it finds Jonathan climbing out the window. It immediately cuts the blanket to cut his support, but Jonathan manages to hold onto the wall. The gargoyles then start trying to reach him through some holes to no avail. One hits him with a hook to make him fall. Jonathan falls on the snow on top of a frozen lake. When a gargoyle tries to follow him, the ice breaks in, so the others fail to reach him. Knowing that Jonathan, walking away with, ought fear, Dracula arrives at the clinic, looking younger and healthier. Uses his perfume to control Simon and makes him guide him to Maria's room. Maria tells Dracula she's found Elizabeth, and he rewards her by letting her feed on Simon. Simon has become a vampire and has been tied to a bed. The priest notices Simon's fangs and a very strong perfume on his clothes. When Dumont shares the description of the intruder who took Maria, the priest realizes Mina is in danger. Mina's quiet night turns chaotic when Maria, very alive despite past rumors, shows up, drags her into better clothes, and takes her straight to meet Dracula. The moment he sees Mina, he's overwhelmed, showering her with praise and triggering strange visions when he kisses her hand. Trying to escape the awkward intensity, Mina joins Maria at a festival, where Dracula follows them through games, food, haunted houses, and fireworks like a dramatic shadow. Between shooting booths, music boxes, and romantic conversations, Mina keeps seeing flashes of another life as Elizabeth. Though she insists she's just Mina, the familiar song and Dracula's devotion slowly crack her certainty. By night's end, despite warnings from a priest that Dracula is a blood-drinking vampire who controls minds with perfume, Mina refuses to believe he could be cruel. Alone with Dracula, Mina finally accepts the truth of her past life, declares her love, and asks to share his immortality. He transforms her just as the priest and soldiers attack the castle. Chaos erupts. Gargoyles fight, cannons shatter walls, and Dracula cuts through enemies to protect Mina. When the priest corners him, Dracula realizes saving Mina means sacrificing himself. He locks her away and allows the priest to stake him, turning to ash as Mina mourns. The castle falls silent, the gargoyles become children, and Dracula's ashes drift into the wind, ending his curse, but leaving Mina forever changed.